All right, so now we're moving into 9.2 for quantitative data. We described qualitative data. Remember, qualitative data is talking about descriptions, whereas quantitative data is talking about not even just descriptions, but categories. There's a lot of different ways of thinking about qualitative data. One of the best ways is not quantitative data, which is not just numbers. Quantitative data is numbers on which meaningful arithmetic operations can apply. So a zip code is not quantitative, even though zip code's a number. The average zip code is not really a quantity that makes sense. All right, so we're going to start talking about frequency tables and histograms. And you might say, Jason, we already talked about frequency tables. Well, now we're doing frequency tables for numbers. And there's a couple of ways that we do frequency tables. So we're going to start this frequency table the same way we did it before. And then in the next video, we're going to start talking about something called class size. And I'm not talking about our class size, okay? So we have 16 randomly selected weights of models from a model agency. Yes, they are very small numbers. Construct a frequency table, goodness, and include relative frequencies. So we're going to go over here and make our table. All right, so our table is going to be, normally it was the colors on the left and the frequencies on the right. But now we don't have colors, right? We have weights on the left and frequency on the right. Look at that spelling. Nice work, Jason. You must have a master's degree. Whoa. Maybe if I had a PhD, I'd be able to spell better. All right, so here we go. We're just going to count just like before. Before we counted all the blues and the reds and the greens. Well, now we're just going to count the individual weights. Let's kind of go in order of size. You don't have to organize this by size, but we're going to want to later. For the frequency table, you don't have to, but for the histogram, we will. So 85, 1, 2, 3. There are 4 85s. So we write down 85 down here and say there are 4 of them. And we just keep going through that with the next biggest number. So what's the next biggest number? I'm going to use a different color. You don't have to. 98. There's one. That doesn't show up well. There are 2 98s, I think. So I'll write down 98 as the weight and say there are 2 of them. And then we're going to look at the next one, 110 maybe. Nope, 100. 1. That's not 100. There's only one 100, right? So write down 100 and say that there's only one. And then we're going to do the next one, 110. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 110s. So we go down here and say 110. There are 4 of them. And then we go up to the last one and say, what's the last one? 115. It's not the last one, Jason. Nice try. That's not going to show up for sure. 1, 2, 3 115s. And the last one is 138, of which there are 2 of them. Okay, so write down 158, 138, and 2. And hopefully we've counted off all of these. And now we have our frequency table. And then it does want us to include relative frequency. So this is a fully completed frequency table. But sometimes they also want you, and they will always specify if they want relative frequency. So if they specify, you need to add it. If they don't, then you're done. So that's just the proportion. So we need to count how many total we have. Should be 16. 6, 7, 11, 14, 16. Yep. The total is 16. So this is 4 out of 16. That's 1/4. That's 25%. This is 1/8. It's 12.5%. This is 1/16. That's 6.25%. Back to 25%. 3/16. 18.75%. 1/8. Back to 12.5%. And again, if you're doing this right, all of these should add up to 100%. And that's our frequency table. Hooray. Now we're going to go to a histogram. And a histogram is similar to a bar chart. But now it's for quantitative data, and now they're touching. Okay? So we're going to construct a histogram of the model's weights here. And most histograms are not constructed like I'm about to construct this next one, but I do want to follow the book as closely as possible. Okay, so what we're going to do, usually we organize these into equal sized chunks, but we're not actually going to do that right here for 9.9. We're just going to list each value kind of like a bar chart. Okay. So y-axis is always going to be frequency. The highest frequency is 4, so make sure that we go up to at least 4. And the x-axis is going to be our values. Before they were colors, and now they're going to be weights. So 85, 98, 100, 110, 115, and 138. And now our bars are all going to touch each other. So 85 goes up to 4. 98 goes up to 2, and now they're touching each other. 100 is only 1. 110 is up to 4 again. 115 is up to 3. And 138 is up to no good. Ha! I don't even know how that's a joke in any meaningful way, but there we go. That's our histogram. You can do histograms like this. Sometimes we'll do histograms like this, but usually we'll do them like we're going to do them in the next video with class intervals. Good luck.